In 2002, United States President George Bush declared a war on terror. This was largely in response to the 9/11 terrorist attacks in the World Trade Centers, and as a way to combat this, land was rented in Cuba and Guantanamo Bay Prison was formed. His population was made up of war criminals and terrorists, and these inmates are treated like filth. Cuba even refuses to cash the checks the United States sends for renting the land, so clearly Cuba isn't a fan of this arrangement, but the contract to keep Guantanamo Bay running must have both parties agree to terminate it. The United States does not seem likely to do this, and we need to do something to change their minds, because we as Canadians cannot just stand by and watch. I wish I could say that there was a specific moment of injustice that I could highlight for you all, but unfortunately, an appalling amount of injustice occurs every day in Guantanamo Bay, and to highlight each individual one would take weeks. The core idea of this prison is that it is situated in a spot where United States and international law does not apply to how it is run. In other words, anything goes in Guantanamo Bay. Extraordinarily little information is actually known about what goes on there, but the little info we do know is quite shocking. Cells are smaller than most bathrooms, and many meals are in the form of drinks. Inmates are also subjected to what is called enhanced interrogation, which is essentially just another name for torture, which comes every day in the potential forms of waterboarding, sexual harassment and abuse, physical abuse, sensory deprivation, being locked inside boxes, sleep deprivation, and other types of psychological harassment. The guards at Guantanamo Bay are also instructed to bang on doors, blast music, and power massive fans to create an immense clamor that makes sleeping almost impossible. In the past, inmates have gone on a number of hunger strikes to protest against the prison, the largest being in 2013, when more than 50% of inmates refused to eat. It was reported that participating inmates lost all of their personal belongings, and as the situation progressed, the inmates were forced to eat. This process involved restraining them and forcing tubes into their nose and down into their stomach to inject food manually. After this, there was no more information provided since the government conveniently stopped releasing any reports. The reason for these protests are partly due to disgusting living conditions, but also because the prisoners in Guantanamo Bay never even get a trial. In the history of the prison, there have been 779 inmates, and of those 779, only 7 of them have actually been convicted of their accused offense, and only one of those 7 were transferred to the United States mainland to stand trial. This is an atrocious statistic. These people are living in awful conditions with essentially no chance at ever being proven that they actually committed their claimed acts of terrorism. Currently, there are about 107 inmates in Guantanamo Bay. 47 of them have been cleared for transfer out of the prison, but haven't moved an inch, and statistically, never will.